What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Chin here again today from the Nothing But Facts podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. We are going to break down, in my opinion, some of the best teams in the transfer portal who have done a great job. We're going to talk about the teams who I think who have hit on home runs, who've done a good job. And this has been a good list. I think there's been some teams who know that, they need to, get better players, more depth, whatever the case how you want to say it. But we'll go over that list, and I think this is a pretty good list, and we're going to go with on three rankings. Hope you guys are doing well, and we'll start off, we'll work our way bottom up. We'll start off with Louisville. Louisville has been doing a good job in the transfer portal so far, and we have to give a shout out to Jeff Brom, head coach of Louisville. What he's been able to do for the last couple of years, he's been able to really make Louisville a prime destination for transfer portal guys. And they have the NIL, they have the resources, they have all of those things in order to be successful. And these guys get dudes. They get dudes. Let's go ahead and see some of the quality of players that they're getting. You're getting guys like Santana Wilson from Texas, Trey Richardson, the very good play receiver, big play wide receiver last year for Vanderbilt. He's going to be a part of that Louisville offense. These are very, very quality players. Kaysen Henry was a primetime player also on that South Carolina offensive line. I know the offensive line wasn't the best at South Carolina, but when you look at that team, he was a bright spot. Brady Foley, too, was part of not a really successful Tulsa team this year. They beat Oklahoma State, credit to them. But this is a guy who's been very productive. And Jeff Brom's recipe, what he's trying to do is he wants to surround his quarterback with talent. And if you don't know who they got Ohio State quarterback Lincoln Kienholz in the portal. So Jeff Brom, a guy whose name was thrown around with the Penn State job, with the Michigan job, and he re-signed with Louisville, and I believe Louisville is going to be a really competitive team in 2026. Isaac Brown, in my opinion, one of the best backs in America. He entered the portal. Seemed like they had some reworkings, and he decided to come back to school. I really like Louisville in 2026. Now let's talk about Texas A&M, because I know we did not talk about this. Isaiah Horton left Alabama, decided to enter the portal, and he is now the wide receiver with Texas A&M. And on the opposite side of him is going to be Mario Craver. Also, Wilkin Formby, too. Wilkin Formby was the tackle for Alabama this year. He has also left to go to Texas A&M. Tyree Adams was a major factor for LSU this year. He got hurt. LSU's offensive line had a drop-off, but when Tyree Adams was on the field, he was good, a really good pass blocker in the run blocking game. I mean, of course, he could improve, but when we look at what Texas A&M has done in the portal, they've been very, very intentional. They want to get offensive weapons. They want to go in that offensive line room. You're not going to score 3 points in a college football playoff game ever again. That can't happen now. Holloman Wiggins is their new offensive coordinator. Colin Klein is left. He's now at Kansas State. You need playmakers. And from what this looks like, it seems like Holloman Wiggins wants to have an explosive offense, wants to have an offense that can score points, and we'll see what happens. They should be a team, I believe, right back in that conversation for the 12-team playoffs next year. They should. They should be. But we'll see what happens with Texas A&M. Moving up right along, we're going to go to Virginia Tech. And if you don't know, Virginia Tech has a new head coach. James Franklin got fired from Penn State, ended up going to Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech happened to be one of the first teams that got their coaches. I think they were one of the first Power 5 teams that, knew what coach they were going to get. And it's awesome to see what James Franklin has done, not only in the transfer portal, but also in recruiting. Virginia Tech has a top 25 recruiting class for the class of 26. So that goes to show you what he's been able to do, how impactful the hire was. They also have a $200 million donation for football coming in. You can go and check that out for Virginia Tech. So all the pieces seem to be lining up for this team to have a pretty decent 2026. I'm not going to say they're going to go 10-2, but this should be a 7-5, 8-4 football team. And that's what you want to see if you're a Virginia Tech fan. This team has not been successful under Brent Pry, who is now the defensive coordinator there. But let's just go through this list. Ethan Grunkemeyer is a guy who I think we're going to talk about him being a successful quarterback. I think he has all the intangibles of being a good quarterback at the college level, and he did it this year. We saw when Drew Aller got hurt, Ethan Grunkemeyer came in and did what he had to do. End of the season, I believe on a 4-game win streak or 3-game win streak. So Ethan Grunkemeyer in that quarterback room, hopefully he hits the weight room. I'm sure there's going to be some continuity there. I think he's going to win the starting job, and I think Ethan Grunkemeyer is going to be one of the most slept-on quarterbacks in the ACC next year. I believe that. I truly, truly believe that. A lot of Penn State movement from Penn State to Virginia Tech. Obviously, Randy Adarica, obviously elite player. That was a major player that was involved in going over to Virginia Tech, and he is going to be a guy who you're going to hear his name a lot in the ACC next year. James Franklin never had a problem with building defenses. His fronts, his offensive lines, his defensive lines have always been pretty good. I think for him, it's just always been about the wide receiver room, and we saw that. The skill positions have sometimes been a little bit iffy, and I know he's had good tight ends, but that wide receiver room has been a little bit iffy. So I think he's going to know that, and he wants to build his team the same way he's built those Penn State teams, from the inside out, and having those big, nasty dudes up front who can make plays for you. So this Virginia Tech team, as we can see, they loaded up on the defensive side, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, we get the picture. Like, they loaded up on defense because they know they got to be good on defense to be successful in the ACC. So I think Virginia Tech should be a good team. They should be a good team. Depending on how that quarterback position is, 8-4, maybe worst case scenario, 9-3. We could have a Virginia Tech team. That Virginia Tech and Virginia game at the end of the year might be a lot more impactful now that James Franklin's around. Texas Tech never seemed to surprise anybody. Of course, they got money for days, and they have smashed the portal. Can we say smashing? They just absolutely annihilated the portal. I want to go and start off with, let's start off with the transfers that they have coming in, right? Malcolm Simmons was a major player at Auburn. He's going to join that wide receiver room there. Adam Trick, big-time production at Miami. I thought he was one of the most slept-on defensive linemen in the country. The dude was always getting around the quarterback, and he's now at Texas Tech. Mateen Ibirogba, JoJo Johnson, Trey White, the edge from San Diego State. They need to, find a way to fill in for David Bailey. The blueprint is there for Texas Tech. They're telling you we are going to have arguably, possibly the best defense in the country again. That's what this blueprint is. Austin Romaine was a really good linebacker at Kansas State. That's what they're telling you. We're going to have a really good defense again. And I'm so impressed with what Joey McGuire has done in 3 years at Texas Tech. He's really changed. I'm telling you, when you talk to people who have grown up middle to late 2000s, I'll say 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and you ask them about Texas Tech football, they're not telling you this team was known for defense. I remember Graham Harrell. I remember Taylor Potts. I remember Michael Crabtree. I remember, obviously, very, very as recently as Patrick Mahomes, Davis Webb. Like, I remember them for quarterbacks. For offense, I don't remember Texas Tech ever playing defense like this. Like, how they're trying to just shift their narrative, their identity on the defensive side of the football. I haven't seen anything like this. And it's a credit to Joey McGuire and what he's been able to do. This team will be back in the college football playoff conversation next year. Not even a question. They'll be back. They'll be back. And finally, not really, hard. Indiana, #1 transfer recruiting class. They also had another recruit today from Joe Brunner, the lineman from Wisconsin, a big, nasty monster up front. Another guy who's there that presumably is going to protect Josh Hoover in his blind side. Chaz Preston coming in from Tulane. Chaz Preston started his career at Alabama. This is just total portal work annihilation. That's just what it is. Total work annihilation. Turbo Richard was a really productive running back from Boston College. Boston College was one of the worst Power 5 teams in the country last year. And Turbo Richard was a bright spot. Like, Toby Osunsami, the edge from Kansas State, that dude is a very good player. Like, he's a really good player. He jumps out on you. And I'm sure in Brian Haynes' system, they're going to find spots for these guys. They're going to find roles for these guys. And that's how you watch Indiana play. Like, everyone has a role. Everyone knows their assignment. You don't see big coverage busts. You don't see things like that. Like, Brian Haynes, as a defensive coordinator, he's going to have these guys in check. He's going to get the best out of these guys, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. And, of course, Nick Marsh, I mean, that is just absurd. That's unfair. You have Nick Marsh on one side, Shaz Preston on the other side, and you have Josh Hoover, that dual-threat quarterback. You still have Turbo Young in the backfield. It's going to be a long day for the Big Ten next year. It's going to be a long day for the Big Ten next year. But this was just an overview of how these teams have tracked so far in the transfer portal. We'll see what happens. The transfer portal is closing on the 16th, so we'll probably see some more movement, not as much, but we'll see what happens. But as for now, keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing. Love you guys. God bless. Peace.